And we are live.
Welcome to the Self Mastery Success: How to Effectively Eliminate Self Sabotage, Elevate Your Energy, and Lead in Your Work and Life to Achieve Success. We're all about creating excellence, and this is an interview series where we dive deep into the minds of high performing leaders and industry experts to unlock the strategies behind their success. Each episode offers you invaluable insight that you can apply to elevate your personal and professional life. Be sure to check out the description below for more details about today's guest. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on the actionable tips and strategies from these experts. Also, you can access exclusive gifts and resources from our experts that will support you on your journey to excellence. Today, our guest is Miss Jennifer Conaway. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Did amazing.
Yeah. Jennifer, tell the audience a little bit about you, what you do, how do you serve your audience, and who are your favorite people to work with?
Mm. So the short version is that I am a flunky from a Fortune 100 company. I was the, square peg. They were cramming into a round hole all the time. And I was very unhappy, but I did learn the value of numbers. I learned that, the way you present numbers can change the direction of a company. And that put me on a path to learning about numbers as they relate to small business, as they relate to growth. And luckily, I've been able to use that moving forward through my own coaching business, through working with some of the top online personal development folks in the country, and then taking that forward to the clients I work with now who are ready to grow their business, but not necessarily comfortable with the numbers they need to look at to know if they're going the right direction. And part of what I do is help them get comfortable enough to look at them. You don't have to love them. You just have to acknowledge they're there and make shifts based on them. So working with heart-led, purpose-driven entrepreneurs has been an amazing experience in helping them, understand systems and processes and why they're so important has really been critical for me.
Mm, that's it. And that's interesting you say that, Jennifer, because again, when it comes to entrepreneurs, heart-led entrepreneurs, I think literally their goal is to help, usually. Like at the core of they're being they're looking to help. And of course you need a team to help. And we get to be strategic around how we do it and it still be aligned with us. So, but why does it why does it even matter um that we are helping, and why does it even matter that why does it matter if we fail, firstly?
For
Fail
well,
to,
first, yeah. So I think for so many of us, there's that inner drive to
mm,
contribute in some way, and it's whether it is truth or not. We're told we should do that through a business. And, most of us, we don't have a business background, right? So we're sort of making it up as we go along, learning as we go along. But the bottom line is if you are not out there talking about whatever your purpose is, sharing your message, sharing your vision, that can feel very constricting on the inside, right? It really can feel like you're just not living right. You're not doing it right. So, either doing it through a business or sharing that information, that message in some way is really all about being in alignment with your soul and with your body and with universe.
mm. I-
Do, oh, did you want to expound on that?
yeah, could you expound on that? What does that mean to you to align with yourself and align with the universe to make it matter?
Yeah. So when I say aligning with myself, it's aligning with my soul. And I think if you if you're really quiet and get still within yourself and within your body, and you're not sharing that message, there's an internal tension. You are out of alignment with your purpose. You're out of alignment with what each one of your tiny little cells came here to do. And there's so much noise around us that sometimes you don't feel it. And there are other people that feel it so much that they're out there screaming and shouting. And that's great too. That works for them. But if you have that pull, and even if it's just you feel like you can't live unless you're fostering dogs, then you need to take steps to do that, because the more peace you have within yourself, the more peace you're going to share out into the world, whether it's your family, whether it's on a podcast, on an interview, whatever it is. And that message is the ripple that changes the universe. I mean, it is, energetics are everything, and they're everywhere, right? And we're coming through 2 really bad hurricanes in the US, and I can't help but wonder what is the energetics that help to create such violence. Nature's a beautiful thing, but she lives by the same laws of physics that we do. So the more that we can create peace within ourselves, the more we create peace globally.
Yes.
Like literally, I just took a breath because we speak the same language. I'm like, it feels like I feel like all the words that are coming out of your mouth are my words, but it's your face. So I'm like having a moment right now because I'm like, that's like. We're aligned so much with everything you're saying, and that's why we wanted. That's why we actually tweaked even just the branding around the series. We self mastery success, because we wanted to get straight to it. Some people understand what self sabotage is and they are aware of it, but we just believe not a lot of people are in tune to. It's actually like the symptom of what's happening. So it's the opposite of what everything. So we focus on the problem, whether people recognize it or not. And so, yeah, I just want to say, yes, I'm loving everything you're saying. One of the things that stood out to me is that you have a financial background in businesses. And so I actually really want to hone in on that. And you can talk from a business standpoint, but we know some of our listeners, they are still in corporate. They don't have a company. But why is it that you think so many people sabotage around money? And what can they do in order to prevent that?
That's a big one, right? Money's huge.
Or financials in any aspect, because maybe it's
yeah. Yeah, I think so. The big, huge answer is we're not taught to be friends with money in this country. I think some countries do it better, but in the US, we're not taught to be friends with it. There is always a tension and always the need or desire to have more. And we actually globally applaud that desire to have more, to want more, and tie success directly to it. When somebody says that someone else is successful, the assumption is that they're sitting on a pile of cash.
Yeah.
But success has so many definitions.
Yes.
And we never look at them. We don't talk about it in our families. And when you look at the differences in how we hold the haves and the have-nots in this country, there's very little space for people that don't have a good relationship with money to shift out of that space. There's very little space for them.
Mm.
And that's where I think we're really falling down when it comes to money, because for us to move forward as a people and to serve other people, money helps that process. It just does. You know, I had a conversation with a friend of mine she's a social worker, um, also very spiritual. And she was like, oh, I just, I feel so good that after I have dinner, I take my leftovers and I give them to the person that's on the street. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. And 5 minutes later, she's telling me, but I've got the 4 boys and I don't know how I'm going to buy their soccer uniforms. Like, I don't have the money to buy the soccer uniforms. And the electric bill this month, it's been really cold. So it's going to be hard to pay that. And I said, all right, let's think about this. Now, she charged these ridiculously low rates for her work, like because nobody can afford it. And that's all they can afford. And obviously, that's all my self-worth is worth. But what I said to her was, if you actually charged what you were worth and could buy the kids' uniforms and pay the electric bill without thinking about it, what else could you do? Could you build the building that feeds and houses 50 people every night instead of just feeding one person? And it was interesting. It was like her whole brain blew up. But she's really started to think about it differently, because up until that moment, money was more the enemy than the partner with her. And I think in so many ways we make money the enemy, and we don't talk about it. Look, if we can't talk about it in families because they don't have the knowledge, we have to talk about it at school. That's our other option. And we don't. Or we talk about it in the very, this is how you balance a checkbook. This is how you put aside $5 a week so you can buy the car when you're 16. And there's so much more to it. I have this. So I had my own relationship issues with money. And finally, I was like, there must be some easy way for me to look at money and for me to keep it so that we work together and we can do things together. And I finally thought, oh, I want my money to make like little baby monies. Like, it just has all these little baby monies. So I take it and I use it for good, whatever that is. If that's to create the, 3-month, emergency stack, or if it's to pay for the tool that's going to help me up level my email campaigns. But when I started to think about money that way, as they're all my little helpers running around, it just completely changed my relationship. And it sounds ridiculous. I get that, but it worked for me. So we have to find ways for money to work for us. And that goes to financials. I mean, still in business, you'll hear somebody say, well, you're just in customer service. You don't need to understand how the business financials work, except that you do. Or the return policy that they have doesn't make sense. And the restock fee doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, how do you explain that to the customer who's upset because they have to pay the restock fee? I'm not saying you have to be able to pull out every tiny little piece on the financials, but the more you understand, the more you understand your place within the business and the impact that you can have from the seat you're in right now.
Well, what are free, like, what would you say are like free ways to tell that you like that you're beginning to align your operations within your work or your business with yourself as a unit, your universe around you? What would you say those three signposts like? Oh yeah, oh,
Yeah.
this, I'm doing it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great question. Three. So you probably hear a lot of people talk about this one, but look for signs that are specific to you. So people say, well, I saw 888, and that means that everything's on the right. Or I woke up and it was 1111, and yay, So whatever it is, I have this thing. So I got married a year ago. I wasn't going to buy a wedding dress. I ended up buying a wedding dress because, it was beautiful and you just have to. But I spent just a little bit more than I had been planning on. And I was kind of like, oh, it's a little bit more, but it should be okay. But I have a thing. When I spend a lot of money, I know that it's fine when a Maserati shows up. And I can be sitting in a Food Lion parking lot and a Maserati will park beside me, or I can be sitting on a hill in the middle of downtown Durham. So, for me, that's my thing. That's the universe going, you're fine. It's okay. That was a fun thing to do. So find what it is that pops up to you. It could be so simple, like you find $1 on the side of the street. It could be very, very simple. Then look for opportunities, because when you start to get into alignment, more and more opportunities come your way. More people say yes to you. And it's not necessarily that all of a sudden you have 50 clients pounding at your door, but you have doors opening that you haven't seen before. People start having conversations with you and you think, oh, I didn't even know that was my peer group. Like I've been looking up to that. They've been way up here the whole time, but no, all of a sudden you're having peer-to-peer conversations with them. It can feel, in some ways it feels small, but it's a huge shift in your perception of yourself and how you are aligning with the universe. Let's see, a third one. I think about this every day, but it's like obvious to me, but it's not. There is, for me and for a lot of the clients I talk to, a very high level of peace that comes when you are in alignment, when you're in alignment with the actions that you need to take to get there, when you're in alignment with what your soul wants. There's just, even if you are taking a risk, there's a level of peace to that because you're moving in the direction of your soul.
Love it.
This
Love it.
conversation is so good. And I'm going to say, Jennifer, I think you're being super selfish, even if you don't do the podcast, but as a tool to just share your wisdom, because I literally can listen to you all day and have a conversation going back and forth. And I'm being so genuine because you say, like, you're saying it, but it's your own flavor. But I'm like, this is my vibe. Like, I love this type of conversation. So yes, I'm calling you out in front of everybody. You get to start some platform to really let people listen to you and how you say it, and to share your wisdom. So that's what I have to say about that. I know you have a gift. Oh, you were gonna say something?
No, just all right.
Where's the enthusiasm? This is an opportunity.
Right. This is one of those, I'm in alignment.
The second sign.
Opportunity is showing up. I need to think about this.
118.
Seriously. So tell the audience a little bit more about the gift that you are gifting them today.
So did I give you I gave you the 3 pillars? That's terrible. I can't remember which one. I just created a new one. That's why I'm like, Or did I give you the Be a Better Boss starter pack? I bet I gave you that. That's the one, because
Well,
that's a really
we'll
cool
add that into the
one.
gifts page.
What was that?
We'll add that into the gifts page. So
Okay,
no,
yeah, I'll get the link over to you, but it's the Be a Better Boss starter pack. And it has 10 commandments for being a better boss. Things like, I will lead by example. I will treat my team with the same respect I want to be treated with, which I promise you, all 10 of those things, you're going to go, oh, yeah, no kidding. But then start to think about your interactions during the day with your team. It also includes some podcasts that are great to listen to for learning and up-leveling your leadership. Some folks to follow on Instagram for the same thing, and a couple of books, that things by Brene Brown, Simon Sinek. I can't remember who's on there. 8 or 10 books on there that just, those pearls that you can take away, and you read the book one year and you read it 2 years later and it sounds completely different.
facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. And yeah, well, Faith, yeah, that's powerful. Do you have any last words for the audience before we close off?
Mm. So important to, yes, listen to what folks that have been there before have done and listen to what they recommend. And always check your gut. Check your gut, because I promise you, it will not work quite the same way for you. And that's okay. That's actually brilliant. That's, you're creating upon creation upon creation. But take the time to breathe and just feel into it, and then take the pieces that work for you and just leave the rest. It's fine. Just leave it.
You heard that. You heard that. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you, audience, as well, for tuning into another episode of Self-Mastery Success. All right. Please share key insights and valuable takeaways that stood out to you from this conversation. And just, share your thoughts in the comments. Like, we love to hear your perspective. Like, what really stood out to you from Jennifer. Like, don't forget, click, follow, like, subscribe, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest interviews that we have coming up. And you can also hit the notify me button to be reminded whenever we go live with these interviews, and you can join and ask questions in real time. And every expert in this series has gifted you some incredible resources and tools for you on our gifts page. So you can check the description in below and link for more info about today's guest. And remember, achieving excellence, having self-mastery success starts with aligning your goals, time, and energy. And we are here to guide you to lead yourself every step of the way. See you on the next interview. Take care.